Hi fam, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these delicious frijoles puercos, pigged out beans. These beans are very loved by a lot of people. You go to a Mexican party, they are usually the side of the main dish. They're everywhere, and today I'm going to show you how to make these delicious, cheesy, smoky, bacony, delicious, and I mean delicious beans. Keep on watching because you're not gonna want to miss this one. The ingredients you're going to need are beans. We are going to use the beans, not quite the bean juice, but we're going to need beans. We're going to need some lard. Now, as you guys know, this is vegetable lard. I do not like the other word for vegetable lard, shortening. Ugh. So we're going to use that. I'm using a Mexican brand. I'm sure you could find this online. You don't have to use this brand. This is just a very well-known Mexican lard, vegetable lard. But you could use oil as well. I'm actually going to use a little bit of both, oil and lard. I'm going to use some of the bean juice, some pickled jalapeños. This is slivered pickled jalapeños, and in their little vinegar sauce, which we are going to use. We're going to need Guajillo chiles, Arbol chiles, Morita chiles. We're going to need some garlic and Chorizo. This is all vegan, by the way. I just don't like saying Chorizo. That sounds weird to me. This is Chorizo, just vegan. You're never going to hear me say Chorizo, by the way. It's chorizo, and that's just what it is. Moving on. We're also going to need smoked provolone slices. Now, the reason I'm using this cheese instead of like Monterey Jack type cheese or mozzarella shreds, it's because this has a smoked bacony flavor to me. And the reason I'm using this one is because I'm not using bacon. With this quarantine, ingredients are hard to find. And I'm really craving frijoles puercos, and I'm gonna make it do with what I have. So to give it that smoke, I'm going to use this, which is not needed, by the way. You don't need that. They will still taste amazing. The flavor is not just coming from the bacon, it's all of this deliciousness. So I'm gonna use this. If you don't have this one, then use mozzarella shreds. It's totally fine. You just want them to melt. Okay, moving on. This is what we need to do. In a hot pan with some oil, we're going to add our Guajillo chiles. And we're going to add our Guajillo chiles, our Arbol chilies, and our Morita. And what we're going to do is we're going to toast them or fry them. Now we have to be very careful that these do not burn. So don't have the fire too high, because then they'll get bitter and not very tasty. We just want to fry them, toast them up, get them nice and fluffy. Now we're flavoring the oil, but this is not the pan I'm gonna use. I just realized that. But this pan had some oil, so we're going to just roll with it. Okay, the morita is now ready. It's getting nice and fluffy. I'm not going to use the morita other than just flavor the oil with this nice smokiness. After this, I'm not going to need it in this recipe. So I'm gonna take it out. Thank you for your service. Now, the Arbol chilies are also ready, and I'm going to take them out. We are going to use them, but we're just gonna take them out just so they don't get extra toasty. Now we just gotta get these nice and toasted. Okay, I got distracted for a second and I burnt this one. So I'm just gonna start over with a whole brand new one. We're gonna give it a quick frying of the Guajillo. And that happens sometimes. You take your eyes off of it real quickly and boom, it's burned. So might as well just throw the whole thing out. They get bitter and not very great. So just toss the whole thing out. I mean, the ones that got burned. I'm just toasting this one up on a medium to low fire, and then it should be ready. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. It's flavoring our oil, making it all nice and delicious. I should have transferred this oil to the pan I'm gonna use earlier, but I forgot. I'm just like excited to eat. I'm not even worried about nothing else. Okay, this one's done. I'm turning it off and I'm taking it out, and you just want it nice and toasty and crunchy. What we're going to do now is we're going to add some of our bean juice. This is something that I had to save the other day. I try not to throw it out. I use it. Sometimes I just add it to soups. It's great with nutrients. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit. I'm going to add my chiles, my guajillos. And then I'm going to add 3 of the arbol chiles, not all of them. The other ones, we can use them for something else. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. And this oil tastes amazing. And let's add a little salt, why don't we? Just a little teeny tiny. And now we're going to blend this. Okay, I made our sauce and I got this delicious, smoky, delicious sauce. Now in the meantime, I'm actually going to turn on my stove. I have the pan over here, the new pan with the oil that we flavored. Just gonna turn it on for now, get it nice and hot. And I'm going to start cutting the cheese. I'm thinking I'm gonna use about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna use 6 slices. And the other, actually I'm gonna use the 7. And we'll see. Okay, so what we're going to do, so this melts nice and great, we're going to stack them up just like they are. Just gonna cut them just like this. And then we're going to make little squares. Just like this. So we're basically dicing the cheese. And again, the reason I'm using this specific cheese is because I want the smokiness that it has. BioLife is a great vegan cheese alternative. I really like a lot of their products, so this is what I'm using for that. Let's put this to the side for now. Okay, while that's also heating up, we're going to peel our garlic and chop it all up. As my oil heats up, I'm going to just roughly chop this garlic. Okay, y'all, these are not called frijoles puercos for nothing. We are going to add the lard, the vegetable lard, to our oil because these frijoles are very puercos. They are very fatty. And once in a while, it's okay. My oil might be a little too hot. If you were to compare my recipe to the way women did it in the end, this is the light version. This is definitely the light version. This oil is really hot. Into this, I'm going to add our garlic. And we are just gonna allow the garlic to flavor our oil and become this beautiful marriage. Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, yes, yes. We're also going to add our chorizo. And, well, we gotta cook our chorizo now. Now, chorizo, animal chorizo, especially pork chorizo, renders a lot of fat. So, this vegan chorizo doesn't have any. So, or I mean, he doesn't have a lot. It's just the meat in there, basically. So, we have to add that extra oil to really make our beans puercos. To make them nice and fatty. So we're gonna cook this. Now, if you think we're done with the fat adding, we're not. But don't get scared. You're not going to eat the whole pot. We're gonna cook this for a little bit. This chorizo does not need a lot of cooking because everything in there is already kind of cooked. We're just sauteing it a little bit, if you will. I really want you to see the beauty that's happening here. Oh my goodness. Typically, when you add the beans, there's more fat in the pan. So, as soon as we're done sauteing this a little bit longer, we're going to add a little more fat so we can fry our beans. Okay, let's move this out of the way, if we can, a little bit. And we're going to add a little more. First, I'm going to add a little oil. I'm using a neutral vegetable oil. And I'm going to add some of the lard. I accidentally put mine in the fridge, so it's really hard. You can put it in the fridge or not, it doesn't really matter. Okay. Again, friends, this is the beauty of this dish. Do not get frightened by the beauty of this dish. We are going to enjoy this to the max. Let's just melt a little bit. I want to take a moment while this melts to talk about this misinformation here. Frijoles puercos often get confused for frijoles charros. That is a whole different dish. It's very similar. It has a lot of similarities, but it's not the same dish. So these are frijoles puercos. So I guess a good translation for this would be, well, the way I'm gonna translate it is pigged out beans. That's what I'm gonna call it. Pigged out beans. Now, okay, so this is nice and hot. We're going to add our beans, but we're gonna try to avoid adding so much of the water. So I have I'm using this here. I forgot the name of it. And I'm going to add our beans because we're trying to keep them as dry as possible. So I'm going to add our beans. And the amount of beans that you add is really up to you and the thickness that you want out of the beans. How dry you want them, the flavor that you want. I just made these beans yesterday. And you can use pinto beans. You can use these kinds of beans, which we call these frijoles peruanos. This is what I'm using. They're very delicious. I'm getting to the bottom here. So I'm trying to avoid as much liquid as possible. I think I've had enough here. Oh yeah, baby. So, look at this beauty. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, now we mash. I'm going to add some of this sauce. I think I'm gonna add it all. If you let your beans, mine came from the fridge, so if they're freshly made, if they're hot, that's fine. But typically, if you let your beans get warm, get hot, they're easy to mash up because they're warm. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. Okay, I'm gonna mash all this up and then I'll be right back. Our beans are mashed and they are delicious. Now, the amount of chilies that you add, it's up to you because, you know, if you want kids to eat it, it might be too spicy. But the vinegar is a must. This is called chiles en escabeche, for those of you who don't know. So it's just the pickled jalapeños in this vinegar, delicious goodness. And the reason we're adding this is because it really cuts the fat in a very beautiful way. It's a beautiful thing. So we're going to add just the vinegar right now. We're gonna mix it in. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. And if you don't want to add the jalapeños, you don't have to. We are not going to mash the jalapeños. One of them got away from me, but we're not going to mash them. We're just adding the vinegar for now. And at this point, you want to taste them. You want to taste them for salt. You want to taste them for flavor. They need salt. I'm gonna go a good pinch here. And I feel that they need a little more vinegar. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little more vinegar. Going to add, oh my goodness, I cannot open this jar. Ugh. I cannot open this jar. Ugh, okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some more vinegar. And again, this is totally up to you how much you add. You might like it a little less. I honestly say add it, at least just some. It adds something very beautiful and delicious. Okay, let me try it again. It's so good. Okay, so now we're going to add our cheese. And we are going to allow them to melt. When you chop them up smaller, they melt faster. I'm going to put this on low. I'm going to add my jalapeno slivers. I'm just gonna go ahead and very gently put them in. So good. And you're just going to mix it all in. Let them flavor these beans. Now again, if you have little ones and they cannot handle it, the vinegar has some kick. The vinegar that they sit in has some kick. It's not as spicy as the jalapenos are. So if you're worried about kids, then just leave the jalapenos out, add the vinegar, or then just add them to your plate. We're going to allow this cheese to melt. In the meantime, while this melts, I'm going to make some quesadillas. Now these beans are great for, it's so funny because I don't know if they're a main dish, I don't know if they're a side dish, are they a dip, are they like a party snack type thing? But they're great for all of that. Like if you don't know what to make one night, you can make these beans with quesadillas or just with tortilla chips. You know, you can make your own tortilla chips or tostadas with this and queso fresco on top, which I have to do. Queso fresco on these is a must because the freshness and creaminess of the cheese is a total must. But we're still doing quesadillas because that's just how we roll here, right? Okay, and our beans are now done and now we get to serve them. Now we have a top of the line taste tester. Ooh, that gooey ooey cheese there. Nice, delicious. Okay, and now we get to eat. The taste tester had to go do a little something, so while he's away, I'm just gonna try a little bit of his food here. Look at this quesadilla, yum. Now we're just gonna give it a quick little dip here. And I'm gonna eat this. So good. Oh, looks like he's back. Here's your food. Let's show them what the food looks like first. Those are the beans. We added a little bit of queso fresco on top. There's our corn quesadilla and our flour quesadilla. Go ahead, live your best life. Come a little closer so they can see you eat. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that bite looked amazing. Tell us about the beans.
They're good, they have a little spice, not too much, but like the perfect amount. They're smooth and nice. Delicious. Delicious.
Can you taste the chorizo in there?
I can.
Can you taste the vinegar in there for the jalapenos? No? Okay. Yeah, you can't taste it. It's just, it adds a nice little, It cuts the fat a little bit. It totally complements the dish. I would say do not skip it. Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Here, let me get in on this. Let me get in on this. Look at him looking at me like, you eating my food? I'm gonna try to get some of that queso fresco here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh, move this plate closer, boy. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So good. Mmm. So good. Would you recommend this plate? Mmm, so good. Sorry. I'm like, I took over his taste test here. So good.